monthly commission meeting. The first item on the agenda is a presentation about Child Abuse Prevention Awareness Month, and that'll be by Ms. Christy McBee with the Department of Children's Services. You have the floor, ma'am.
Good evening.
Hello.
I had a PowerPoint presentation. Brian ran to get that, so I'll just keep talking. If he gets that, then you can see it. So I'm Christy McBee. I work with the Department of Children's Services. I am with what is called the Office of Child Safety through the Department of Children's Services. That's what formerly used to be known as the Child Protective Services. Within the Office of Child Safety, we have 4 different teams. We have a SIPIT PAIR team. That stands for the Child Protective Investigative Team, and they work PAIR cases, which are physical abuse immediate response cases. We also have a Family Protection and Preservation team, a drug team, and our Special Investigations unit. The drug team was designed specifically to work cases that involve allegations of drug-exposed child, that involves infants 3 months and under. So their focus is on the babies. Special Investigations, that unit specifically works for allegations of abuse or neglect that involve foster parents on foster children, or those that are teachers, coaches, pastors, youth leaders, folks that are in an authority figure over children. So the Special Investigations unit works those. We locally don't handle those cases. The SIPIT and FPP teams are your local Child Protective Services teams that you'll see in the community. I will get into those in just a second. If he can get that up, I gave you a list of the allegations of abuse and neglect that the department works.
You could get full screen, that would be nice.
He's getting there.
If you touch that, you don't have to click it, just touching it will advance.
Okay, so there was the 4 teams I went over. These are allegations of abuse and neglect that the department works. Every concern that you can have regarding a child will fall under one of these categories. These also will break down into certain ones that are severe or non-severe, and that determines whether the FPP team or the SIPIT team gets involved. I am actually the supervisor over the SIPIT team for Scott, Campbell, Anderson, and Union here in our area. My team specializes in severe abuse cases. I have 6 staff members that cover those 4 counties, and we are specially trained to deal with the severe abuse stuff. So I don't expect you guys to read all of that, but this is kind of our policy and what determines what is severe abuse. So something that is severe abuse is when it is a knowing exposure of child abuse or neglect that is likely to cause serious injury or death to a child. Any allegation of child sexual abuse, child death or near death automatically go to my team. Those are severe abuse cases automatically. But if we're looking at physical abuse, you can have physical abuse that is non-severe, that is worked by our FPP team, or you can have severe abuse, severe physical abuse that comes to my team, and that involves severe bruising of a child, broken bones, burns, that kind of thing. So we do have a line that is drawn, and the teams are specialized in how they work those. Ooh, backed up too far. Okay, so here's some data in Anderson County specifically for you guys. I just pulled some information just from the last 3 months. So these are new referrals of abuse and neglect that came in just to Anderson County. So in January, 134, February, 191, March, 199. And these are just the referrals that came into our county. Not every one of these cases is actually assigned. There can be referrals that are called into the department that don't meet criteria for assignment. For example, if somebody says, oh, a child is not being fed properly, they're only eating chicken nuggets and macaroni and cheese. That's not child abuse, they are being fed. So those cases are what we call screened out. They don't come to the department for us to actually investigate that family. So this is a breakdown of some of the allegations that we've had over those 3 months here in Anderson County. I had to use a little bit of shorthand. So DV is domestic violence. Neglect encompasses your medical neglect, nutritional neglect, educational neglect. Put several of those in. DEC is drug exposed child. So those are the drug allegations that were worked in Anderson County. PA is physical abuse. Psych for psychological harm. SAE is our sexual abuse. And the D/P&D, those are death or near-death cases. Luckily, we didn't have any of those. But that breaks down each month what type of allegations that actually were worked here in Anderson County over those 3 months. Those are severe and non-severe. I just grouped that all together. And just a note, domestic violence is a new allegation that the department added back in October. We have always looked at domestic violence in our cases. We just didn't have it as a standalone allegation. We kind of grouped it in with lack of supervision or physical abuse when we were looking at those situations in the families. I don't work foster care, so I don't have a lot of answers on foster care, but I wanted to let you guys know a little bit about that side of things. Here in Anderson County, this is the number of custodial intakes. So these are new Anderson County children that came into foster care in these months. So in January, we had 6 new Anderson County kids come into custody. February 2, March we had 13. Currently, there are 172 Anderson County children that are in state's custody. Foster homes in Anderson County. We have 80 active foster homes that are in Anderson County, but only 36 of those are what we call a traditional foster home. The rest of those would be what we call a kinship home. So that is when a relative decides to open up their home to take custody of a child. Doesn't have to be a relative. It can be a family friend, a church member, a neighbor, anybody who has a relationship with the family. They open their home, go through all the classes, and become certified foster parents. So we don't contact those people when we bring other children into custody. They open their home specifically for those children or that child. So they are not homes that we can actively use. We do have 33 active agency foster homes. You can foster through Camelot, Helen Ross McNabb, Smoky Mountain Children's Home. We do have other options. You don't have to foster just through the department. But we do have some extra hoops we jump through to place in those homes, in those contract homes. So total, we have 66 homes in Anderson County that we could utilize for our children. Probably not enough for the 172 kids that we do have in custody. So a lot of our children are placed outside of Anderson County. We try to keep them as close to home as possible, but that's just not always feasible because we are very short on foster homes. So who reports child abuse and neglect? Everybody does. If you are a living, breathing human being, you are responsible for reporting something. If you see something, you need to say something. The children can't speak up for themselves. That's on us to do that for them. You have 2 different ways that you can report child abuse. You can contact our hotline directly. Phone number is provided. Also, if you want to make a web referral, our hotline is overloaded all the time. So if it's not an emergency, we do ask people to utilize the web referral option. If it is an emergency and immediate response is needed, then please use the phone number and call so that that referral gets to us a lot faster than the web referral does, so we can get somebody out on the scene to check on those kids. And then there's my name and contact if anybody needs me for anything. Any questions? No?
Thank you for your time. We
Thank
appreciate
you,
the
guys.
There's nothing else to come before us for the consent agenda. We'll be in recess until the 6:30 meeting.